Older than the mighty Amazon, this dark jungle is a world preserved. A prehistoric green kingdom remains completely untouched by the modern human age. Beneath these towering canopy giants, ancient rivers carve through the primeval ferns. Here, total survival means blending perfectly into the deep, breathing jungle shadows. Welcome to the absolute deepest heart of the ancient Australian Daintree Rainforest. Silence blankets the Daintree Rainforest in Queensland, Australia before dawn. From damp shadows, a living relic awakens within this prehistoric ecosystem. A colossal saltwater crocodile waits patiently beneath massive strangler roots. The giant Southern Cassowary shares this undergrowth with the Ulysses Butterfly. The heavy bird navigates ancient vines, a remnant of Gondwana. In the canopy, a rare Lumholtz's tree kangaroo stretches its limbs. Wrapped around a trunk, an enormous amethystine python tastes humid dawn. Every footstep of the cassowary crushes leaves, marking a prehistoric giant. It forcefully pushes through giant ferns, mapping the forest floor continuously. Pausing beneath the canopy, it shakes morning dew from coarse plumage. The ancient apex predator slowly slides into the silent, murky depths. Disguised against timber, the Papuan frogmouth remains motionless, trusting natural camouflage. The cassowary's eyes lock onto fallen fruit, feasting this giant frugivore. With a powerful thrust of its blue neck, it swallows fruits. Suddenly still, it listens to resonant echoes vibrating through thick fog. The tree kangaroo feeds, its circadian rhythm perfectly attuned to shifting dawn. At a pristine stream, the colossal bird lowers its heavy beak. Clinging to a palm frond, an Australian green tree frog croaks. The cassowary freezes at the water, tuning into the faintest rustle. It leaves a musky rat kangaroo safe in the dark forest understory. The quiet swamp hides the floating crocodile, waiting in dark waters. As air warms, a Victoria's riflebird begins a spectacular courtship display. The cassowary uses powerful claws to scrape soil, uncovering hidden protein. With incredible precision, its sharp beak darts downward, snatching a grub. Taking quiet reprieve, the giant bird meticulously preens stiff chest feathers. The ancient draped canopy guards staggering biodiversity and millions-year-old secrets. The tree kangaroo wraps its thick tail, resting amidst sprawling primeval ferns. Seeking safety from daylight, a striped possum retreats into a log. Puffing its massive chest, the cassowary releases a subsonic booming call. Dominance asserted, the majestic creature marches confidently away into thick brush. The saltwater crocodile opens massive jaws to regulate temperature on mudbanks. The cassowary marches across a clearing, constantly scanning for its meal. A Boyd's forest dragon clings to bark, textured scales masking it. The vivid blue face and amber eye observe foliage with intelligence. With violent jerks, the bird tears ripe berries from jungle shrubs. The tree kangaroo pulls its heavy body higher into the ancient canopy. Swaying gently, a colossal peppermint stick insect mimics a green frond. The cassowary lifts muscular legs, carefully stepping over massive strangler roots. It lowers its tall casque to gently investigate a musky rat kangaroo. Using its lethal claw, it kicks dead leaves, uncovering hidden beetles. Beside immense roots, the crocodile remains motionless on sun-warmed, slippery mud. A white-lipped tree frog shifts sticky toe pads across banana leaves. Escaping rising humidity, the cassowary rests deep within a dark thicket. Standing abruptly, it shakes aggressively, dislodging ants from coarse black plumage. A bright red parasitic flower on a trunk is snapped cleanly. High above, the tree kangaroo sleeps peacefully, oblivious to the bustling floor. Plunging rapidly, a buff-breasted paradise kingfisher hunts in the humid air. A massive Hercules moth slowly flexes its patterned wings against bark. The cassowary wades through dense green ferns, pushing stiff fronds aside. It turns entirely around, striding into thick, shadowy depths of foliage. The tree kangaroo delicately pulls itself upward as the cassowary destroys logs. An orange-footed scrubfowl aggressively kicks dirt backward to build incubation mounds. The dinosaur-like cassowary curiously approaches the leaf mound, tilting its head. The incredibly sharp and lethal inner claw squelches the thick mud. Seeking heat relief, the bird wades into a slow-moving rainforest stream. An ancient moss-covered log naturally bridges the river, surrounded by ferns. The submerged crocodile releases tiny bubbles while a bandicoot forages frantically. The northern brown bandicoot digs furiously, extracting a hidden rainforest worm. Plucking a bright blue quandong fruit, the cassowary swallows it whole. Overcome by humidity, the giant bird slows dramatically, panting in shade. In stifling midday air, the crocodile rests with jaws completely open. The colossal cassowary sits against cool mud, breathing in rhythmic heaves. A brilliantly blue Ulysses butterfly lands atop the deeply resting bird. Its vividly colored neck pulsates gently with deep breaths in shadow. Deeply asleep, the powerful bird twitches its foot as ants crawl. High above, a massive colony of spectacled flying foxes hangs upside down. The tree kangaroo breathes so slowly, it appears lifeless against mossy timber. One giant flying fox frantically fans its wing in stagnant air. Shifting uncomfortably, the massive cassowary plops back into a cooler patch. Laying entirely flat like a log, it breathes heavily against earth. The incredibly dense wall of ancient ferns stands perfectly still now. An enormous amethystine python rests tightly coiled upon a shadowy branch. The marsupial and python share profound stillness amidst droning, unseen cicadas. Condensation strikes the cassowary's hard blue casque, causing it to blink. Perfectly camouflaged by shadows, the bird lies motionless like a boulder. The massive crocodile keeps jaws wide open on the sweltering mudbank. Lethargic from extreme heat, the cassowary shakes buzzing flies away. The crocodile's armored tail twitches slowly, sending ripples across stagnant water. The reptile's golden eye slides its translucent inner eyelid closed slowly. Exhausted, the cassowary stands up, dragging muddy feet into green shadow. Curled into a furry ball, the rare tree kangaroo sleeps against timber. Standing perfectly still in the dark hollow, the cassowary droops heavily. A beautiful Ulysses butterfly presses wings closed against a leaf's underside. Desperate for moisture, the cassowary scoops cooler water from a log. Slowly folding muscular legs, it lowers its immense body onto mud. Beneath tangled roots of a strangler fig, a lean dingo pants. The wild canine lazily twitches pointed ears before resting its head. The muddy, scaly foot of the cassowary slowly uncurls lethal claws. Shaking lethargically, the giant bird stands up slowly to stretch muscles. As midday heat breaks, the cassowary steps from deep fern shadows. An incredibly dense field of giant ferns sways as breezes arrive. A beautifully spotted quoll emerges from a hollow log, yawning widely. With returning energy, the massive cassowary pecks white fungi on stumps. The reddish-brown quall darts across the shaded floor, tracking scent trails. The cassowary marches purposefully, pushing massive green palm leaves aside easily. The saltwater crocodile smoothly glides its armored body into cooling rivers. Lifting its dripping beak, the cassowary turns sharply, staring into foliage. The spotted quall balances perfectly on a mossy vine creeping silently. The incredibly sharp, curved beak violently snaps a tough, stubborn root. Fluffing its plumage, the bird vigorously shakes dry dirt from feathers. The tree kangaroo cautiously climbs down to reach leaves as cassowaries forage. The cassowary steps deliberately through ginger plants, placing heavy, muddy feet. Perfectly camouflaged against wood, the Papuan frogmouth opens huge, glowing eyes. Reaching its blue neck high, the bird tugs berries from shrubs. Annoyed by dense brush, it violently flings spiderwebs from its casque. The muddy river reflects fading light, flanked by ancient strangler trees. Preparing for evening hunts, the amethystine python slides silently down trunks. The submerged crocodile blinks its golden eye, silently watching the cassowary. The giant bird freezes completely mid-step, listening intently to thick brush. Cautiously lowering its foot, it steps silently over a decaying log. The tree kangaroo delicately chews dry leaves, watching the bird navigate below. Racing fading light, the small bandicoot shoves its nose, extracting grubs. The cassowary breaks into a heavy jog, pumping legs across dirt. Catching its breath, the vividly colored neck wattle pulsates heavily now. Standing tall among ferns, it scans the understory with jerky movements. The submerged crocodile hovers perfectly still, watching the cassowary discover fruit. Continuing its late hunt, the quall leaps gracefully over tangled roots. The dinosaur-like giant stands triumphantly over an incredibly massive fruit pile. It aggressively throws its bright head back, swallowing giant quandongs whole. Sensing approaching predators, the giant bird lifts its head, staring intensely. Breathtaking silhouettes of massive canopy giants stand against dusty twilight skies. The tree kangaroo sits perfectly still as massive, spectacled flying foxes erupt. A giant flying fox soars gracefully, flapping leathery black wings powerfully. The cassowary slowly turns its body, physically blocking its bountiful food. Clinging to fern fronds, an Australian green tree frog, the crocodile rests silently as tension builds around the guarded fruit. A beautifully patterned striped possum cautiously emerges, scurrying up rough trunks. Hurriedly swallowing a fig, the cassowary keeps amber eyes locked intensely. Creeping incredibly low, the hungry spotted-tailed quoll intensely smells rotting fruit. The cassowary flares its neck feathers in a magnificent territorial display. The tree kangaroo clings tightly, watching the tense territorial dispute unfold below. The quoll steps out slowly, lowering its head while locking eyes. Puffing its massive chest, the cassowary stands absolute tall, dominating space. As a final warning, its powerful foot violently stomps hard dirt. Refusing retreat, the quoll flinches slightly but bares teeth defiantly. The crocodile slowly closes golden eyes, ignoring the deep booming standoff. Lowering its bright blue head, the cassowary releases a subsonic boom. Pacing aggressively just out of range, the quoll stares hungrily. Asserting absolute dominance, the bird violently kicks wet mud toward predators. Dodging flying mud, the defiant quoll steps closer, opening jaws silently. The ancient clearing is shadowed entirely, dominated by vibrant blue fruits. With explosive speed, the massive southern cassowary lunges its sharp beak. Throwing its agile body away, the quoll leaps frantically backward upward. Completely dominating the twilight frame, the towering cassowary relaxes flared feathers. Pausing to look back, the quoll retreats entirely into impenetrable shadows. As final light vanishes, the tree kangaroo sleeps while the bird eats. In the profound peace of settling twilight, the cassowary swallows fruit. Reflecting the very last glimmer of dusk, the amber eye blinks. The cassowary slowly folds its legs, sitting and fading into shadow. As night fully embraces the prehistoric ecosystem, darkness swallows the cassowary. As the Daintree plunges into darkness, the cassowary finally rests. But thousands of miles away, a freezing new struggle begins. Witness the ghosts of the high Himalayas. Click right here.